Just as Saturday's lesson spoke of the future, the post-coronavirus future, today's lesson, what is the future that awaits us, also speaks of it. Jesus was not a virtual manifestation of the divine, but God incarnate. He became man precisely so that we could meet him. And he told us that he is present and awaits us in others. But has this been lost in the masks and in the protective measures? The words of a Russian thinker, the simple relationship between people is the most important thing in the world. This reminds us of a beautiful song, full of joy, from a few decades ago, launched by a group called Up With People. People my age, no, I'm not going to tell you, will remember this. It was a movement of young people that promoted friendship and fraternity among peoples. Those of us a certain age certainly remember it. It spoke of the many people we meet every morning on our way to work, and said, among other things, if more people were for people, all people everywhere, there'd be a lot less people to worry about, and a lot more people who care. It inspired many wise and positive sentiments, and it comes to mind often in the last few years, walking down the street, meeting many busy people going about their own affairs, almost closed in on themselves, and many others with wires coming out of their ears, who are completely focused on their cell phones or on their cell phone screens, or talking aloud in space. 20 years ago, we would have called them crazy and had them committed. These people are completely oblivious to the people standing just a few inches away from them, on the bus, sitting near them in a subway train, sitting by them in a restaurant. You will often see in a restaurant a table of 4, and there are none speaking to each other. They will often text each other just across the table, though. Naughty. It seems that the instinct of looking at others, kindly and attentively, is becoming more and more rare. At the same time, the increasingly pervasive intrusion of new forms of communication into everyday life, communications that don't include speaking or looking at the person, seem to have made others more strange to us, made others strangers to us. After several weeks indoors, there is a great desire to meet different faces on the street again. We can hope that, sooner or later, in due course, this can happen without masks or plexiglass dividers, and we can hope we can exchange a friendly word or even just a sincere smile with many other people. Many of us in recent months have been pleasantly surprised with the possibilities offered by digital communication, and we hope to continue to make use of them in the future. But with the extension of the lockdowns, we have realized that this is simply not enough. How will we come back the day after the measures to relax to greet one another on the street, on the bus, on the subway? Will we be able to repopulate the common spaces of our cities with serenity? Or will we be conditioned by fear and suspicion? Right now, we're finding that the young children are actually agoraphobic, unwilling to leave their homes. With the help of the hoped-for wisdom of scientists and world leaders, some world leaders. Will we be able to balance reasonable prudence with the desire to rediscover and reweave the quality of daily living that, as we said at the beginning, is the most important thing in the world? The very fabric of human life. Will we realize, more or less than before, that we are one human family walking together in the common home that is our one and only planet, Earth? The coronavirus has allowed us to experience a problematic aspect of globalization that we will have to take into account every day of our lives in the future. Will we be able to rediscover the desire of fraternity among peoples beyond borders, the benevolent and curious welcome of diversity, the hope of living together in a peaceful world? How will we yet experience our own bodies, and how will we view others' bodies? As possible contagion vectors or risk to be guarded against at all costs? Or the expression of the soul of a sister or a brother? Because after all, that is what every human body is. The physical manifestation of the soul. Unique, worthy, precious, and a creature of God. The image of God. How wonderful is the timbre of the voice, the rhythm of the steps, especially the smile of those we love. But beyond that, shouldn't this apply to the people we meet too? So, will recovering freedom from the coronavirus help us to free ourselves from the other viruses of the body and soul that prevent us from seeing and meeting the treasure that is in the soul of the other, the hates, the social injustices from the hates? Or will we become even more individualistic? Digital technology can usefully mediate and accompany our relationships, but the mutual physical presence of persons, of their bodies, as the transparency of their souls, their proximity in being in contact, remain the original starting and reference point of our experience and our journey. Jesus was not a virtual manifestation of God, but his incarnation, precisely so that we could meet him. And Jesus told us that he is present and awaits us in the other, in the poor, and who is not poor in some way, whether they realize it or not. And he tells us in the face of the other, we can and we must know how to recognize him. What will our eyes be like? What will our heart be like? What will our smile be like when we return to walk the streets and cross the paths of so many people who, even though seemingly unknown to us, have been missing us after all these months, and who, like us, have felt the desire to meet again on the daily crossroads of their lives, of our common world?